congratulations with your film, but clowns, I feel like they're naturally terrifying. And you guys are brave and diving into this world of clowns. Why do you think that they're a little terrifying to some of us?
Katie, I'll let you tell me. Why do you think so?
I think there's something really horrific about somebody who's just smiling all the time, or who can find humor in everything. I don't, and then also just like the makeup alone is creepy as hell. But that's my take.
As I'm smiling all the time,
Yeah,
but
like Eli.
finding humor in everything.
Unnerving.
I think clowns have this like weird, I think almost primal duality to them, and even little kids, little baby that sees a clown will maybe first be intrigued and they'll see a smile and like, oh, that looks like a fun guy, but it could turn so fast to that baby just screaming in horror, that I loved embracing a clown as our archetype sort of villain here, and that he could be kind of fun. There's something quite fun about Frendo and playful, um, and goofy, and yet something utterly terrifying about him as well.
I'm starting to feel that you're just a fan of clowns based on the items in your backdrop.
These are all Frendo clowns, but yes.
Eli's been wearing that mask everywhere he goes lately too. You're like worried about him.
I feel more comfortable in that mask. I feel like I'm a better version of myself in that mask.
And it breaks the wind when you're snowboarding and skiing with it.
Yeah.
Come in handy. We can start with you, Kevin. What attracted you to want to be a part of this story?
Well, initially, I mean, I really love Eli. I'm a big fan of his work. And then just reading the script and as most actors do, kind of looking to the character and going, oh wow, like I can really dig in to this and just have fun. It's just like it's wonderful when you get to jump into something that's, you know, a departure from who you are every day, and that's always just a wonderful privilege. And this one, I got to really run with it, so it was fun. It was a good time.
And for you, Katie, getting to play a teenager that's a little rebellious, wanting to have fun, with a hot single dad, can't complain.
Yeah, totally. The character was really attractive to me for a lot of reasons, mostly because of her character arc. You know, obviously by the end of it, she's a total badass, and I wanted to kill some clowns. So, yeah, it was an immediate yeah for me.
But by the way, we have to tell Aaron that he's been described as hot single dad.
Yeah.
Aaron Douglas.
I wish he was here.
He's gonna like that.
He's a hot single dad.
Hot single dad.
I'm sure many agree with me. So what was it like to shoot in cornfields? I mean, it doesn't sound easy at all.
Katie, I like you talk. I've talked so much about it. I want to hear what you say about corn.
Well, it actually was a little bit tricky just because we had a schedule, and you know, by the end of the season they were going to plow the cornfield, so we had to like film in there before the farmers got their hands on it. But it's also like, you know, it's an obstacle course a little bit. So there's a fat chance you're gonna get a stick of corn in your eye if you're running a little too fast. And you also have to, you know, once you step on the corn, it's like flat for good. So you know, it was definitely tempestuous at times, but at the end of the day, we had a lot of like prop corn. Like we cheated a lot, and it was mostly fun. I'll say that.
I will say also the corn is pretty sharp. Like it's not a piece of vegetation that goes down without a fight.
No.
And so everybody had little scrapes all over them, and even just the stalks themselves, like little sticks and scrapes and everything. And it gave me a line to add in that we actually shot later, which was when Verity says, "Ow, this corn hurts," and they're just sort of walking through the corn because it's kind of hard pushing your way through it, and if you don't have long sleeves on, it can kind of scrape you up. So when they
Does he?
actually start sprinting through the corn, the actors are taking quite a beating.
Well, I mean, guess this opens up to my next question to which would you prefer for a horror film? Using like the actual props like corn or do a little bit of the CGI effect?
CGI corn.
Did
No
you?
CGI. No CGI corn. There's no
Yeah.
CGI
Oh,
corn.
like, yeah,
There was
yeah.
corn hurt in this movie. Some
For sure.
corn was hurt, and there's no CGI here.
The
Uh,
corn's supposed to hurt,
yeah,
Yeah, that's why it's so
right?
scary.
Yeah.
and we heard it back. But I will say, just the visuals of it alone, like the real visuals of it, play so well. I don't think you could capture that with CGI. You don't know exactly how it's going to look like you do when you map it out and you say we're going to build this with VFX, and you could choose exactly how it's going to look. But some of the randomality of it, and there's some beautiful shots. We're shooting alongside in like a golf cart with our camera operator on Steadicam hanging off it. Katie Douglas running way too fast and them trying to keep up. And it has this staccato look, almost like a frame rate in an old school film camera, where you're getting glimpses of them as they move through openings in the corn and it gets denser. That's so cool that it's not a visual effect. Like I love it.
Now, as I watched the film and saw your character that you play, Katie, the pressures of being a teenager now with social media. I mean, Kevin, Eli, how do you feel? Are you glad you're like me, like the old kids that grew up without all that, the social media pressure? Because being a teen as is tough.
I can't imagine it. I mean, it was tough enough to navigate without all of that um, extra extra sauce that they have to deal with. This instant accessibility to everything. Like how does that interfere with your filter as a human being? Because it truly does. I'm quite grateful to be
Yeah.
in my 50s and not have to deal with it. I'm really glad to know that I never had to know how to swipe right or swipe left or whatever that is. I'm glad that I missed all of it.
Yeah.
I'm quite grateful for that.
Katie, you get to be the teenager that we're watching. So how did it feel to play that?
I feel like I'm always playing a teenager, but it you know what, it felt really easy because Eli wrote the script in a way that really honored the way that Adam Cesare, who wrote the book, wrote it. You know, they just wrote some pretty realistic contemporary teenagers. And you know, I know a thing or two about what it's like to be a teenager still. So it's a movie that definitely talks to generations. It's about a generational divide, and I think I just I wanted it to feel like what kids feel like now, because I wanted it to reflect how kids feel and what they think now.
Yeah.
Eli, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I mean, so much about that. I got to mess up a lot as a teenager and be called on it from my friends, but not by the world at large. I think that we got to be rebels and have it be hidden from our parents and everything. And nowadays, like, parents are on social media too. When something happens or you get drunk and act like an idiot, it's like there for the world to see. And I think it's too much for it's hard for people to grow up with that. And so in a weird way, the film is sort of about this generational gap, and I'm Gen X, so I had to make do on my own a lot, and we didn't have this connecting. Nobody knew where I was most of the time. I was just out doing my thing. But we got to bring this back to like Gen Z, sort of not knowing all these things about. Certainly I didn't have a rotary phone when I was a kid, but actually my dad kind of did. He had a rotary phone for a very long time at the lake house that I had to learn how to use, and stick shift and all these things were a part of my life that I got to include in this as sort of a metaphor, a visual metaphor for this like generational gap. Yeah, both those things. And social media is just such a part of people's lives today that as a filmmaker, I really I really don't want to include it a lot. I'd like to exist in a world where that doesn't exist, but I can't. It's just there in people's lives all the time. So in this film, I tried to embrace it in the most realistic way I could.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing up the rotary phone and the stick shift. Very important for the younger generation to learn. And thank you so much, Kevin. Can't wait for Naked Gun.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.